Hey guys, welcome to episode 6. We got a special guest here, Jay Balaka, formerly of SOF, now in Royal City Sea Dogs for the ICPL Pro. Before we jump into it, we'd like to thank our sponsor for tonight. It's going to be Dizana Sports. Dizana Sports, maker of custom apparel, whether it be jerseys. I wear their joggers. Travis wears their joggers as well. Super comfortable. Can wear them around the house or anything like that. So if you need anything, use code OVERSHOT for 10% off. And email contact at dizanasports.com and tell them we sent you. So, Jay, usually like how we start this off. How you get into paintball, how'd you start, and everything like that, and we'll let the conversation take us from there.
Yeah, I guess my start was pretty grassroots. So I started pretty late. I was about 24 years old. My best friend at the time just broke up with a girlfriend. I think he wanted to kill some anxiety, so gave me a shout. Said, "Hey, do you want to go to this local field?" Never played before, so I was like, let's give it a shot. We went out there, grabbed our Tippmann 98 rentals at this place called Georgina Paintball, which is awesome. And, from the first round on, kind of got hooked, man. It's like an evolution of a video game. I remember we crawled up a set of trail and waited for this first guy to come by. And, we're just waiting in the woods. The dude didn't see us. And it was just like, it was like a movie, right? So it was a blast, man. So that's kind of what sucked me in. And from then on, I think I went like maybe 2-3 weekends in a row with my boy. And then, living in Toronto, we got hit by wintertime. So started moving on to indoor. We had a great place called Sergeant Splatters up here. You might have heard of it. It's pretty well renowned. Does huge amounts of volume when it comes to like paint sales and just just rental traffic as well. Like it's probably just it's a pinnacle spot in the city of Toronto, especially in the winter. And they always had great deals and half price nights and stuff like that. So we'd probably be there 2-3 nights a week on some cases, just playing pump and pistol, just messing about. And then yeah, man, next summer just got further into it, started reffing at that same field, Georgina. It was a blast. You learn so much reffing, right? And at the same time, so I guess this would have been like 06. CXBL was probably rocking pretty heavy at the time. And I think it was Kawartha Confusion and another team called Kobakonk or something started practicing out of there. So, started to get my first eyes on the CXBL and what was going on in that scene and whatnot. And from there, it just kind of grew like wildfire, like the game's a blast. Like I played a lot of hockey when I was younger, but I stopped when I was 16 because I was pretty small. In this sport, it's like you could be small and kind of just fit behind stuff, right? And and to take your shots and you kind of get rewarded for being small and sneaky. But yeah, I had a blast playing, and I think I said a second ago, it's kind of like an evolution of a video game, right? So it's the fun that I was looking for. It's like where's this been? Kind of sad it took me so long to find it.
Yeah, how'd you make the jump from like playing with your friends with the 98 custom to doing tournaments? Did you like see one first? Did you like see it on the internet? Like how did that go?
Yeah, it was kind of a slow like progression. It was funny, watching X-Ball at the time, the true X-Ball format where you had the halves and you had full-on sideline coaching. It was the sideline coaching that killed it and just didn't appeal to me. I would watch that and I would see people on the sidelines counter coaching. And I would see, guys with like holding up signs, being like with arrows pointing down, like, yo, he's right at his bunker. And I was like, these people, like, they make great moves and they don't even get rewarded for making great moves because you got some clown on the side, and, I understand the approach on how to try and get the crowd involved and stuff like that. But, in hockey and soccer and football, nobody's hiding behind anything waiting to get anybody, like those guys are right in front of you. So if someone's like, yo, he's on you, it's like, yeah, I know he's on you. Like,
I see him.
Yeah, right. So to me, that just killed the appeal. And then the SPPL came along, which was really funny. And I remember seeing a video, some dude, it was like a 30-second promo reel or something hilarious, and some dude was like doing some barrel roll down a hill and grabbing a flag while getting shot at. And I was like, all right, I could probably get down with that, like that seems like something I can enjoy. And it was a different avenue, rather than playing X-Ball, which is purely dominant format up here in Ontario, So what's funny is SPPL kind of caught on like wildfire here up in Canada, and there was a few events out of Ontario, and I joined a local team, came 5th of like 8th, a bunch of times in a row, and then left that team, joined another team. Then we played our first SPPL in the States. We joined that crowd of people who were hunting the allure of smart corks. I think they were the only real like legit team playing woods ball back then, right? Or still playing woods ball after it died off. To be more.
No, they were good, man. They were they're definitely the team to beat. That's the team that I wanted to beat, or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And then they came out with the they were shooting the SP1 or whatever it was.
Yep.
And you're like, I mean, they're messing people up, but I mean, it's like ex-pros playing scenario clowns, honestly. And I was a scenario clown to start. Like, you know, I'll say that, and SPPL kind of bridged that gap for me. But I mean, that's kind of where, like, I think I spoke with you for 3 years about freaking those tournaments before I even saw you or thought about seeing you.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is, like, you know, you have the allure of the X-Ball divisions and leagues, and like I think it was PSP or whatever it was, or MPPL, but there was, you know, a fun scene growing on the side as well, you know. And like I remember first reading when Forest Fire, I think, beat SmartCore in a prelim before, you know, a finals match, and it was their first loss in years, and everyone's like, oh my god, these guys are beatable, you know. And Bone Break shows up with the, you know, the Forest Demons, and you know, they're rocking and just crushing teams, and you're like, it was fun to kind of look up to and just understand that, like, you could play a higher level in the woods, and it, you know, your avenue didn't have to be on an airball court, you know. So that was kind of my intro into it. And as the SPPL faded and we played a bit in the States, we actually won a Michigan qualifier, which was a ton of fun. That was my first ever event in the States, and we won it, which was a blast. We went back to the finals, and we got just worked by the Forest Demons. And after that, like, we just got hooked. We were like, you know, there's other levels of this game that we didn't even know about. And I think by then the UWL kicked in. So, you know, that's when SOF came along. And I think from then on, you know, anything but tournaments didn't excite me, because I'm the type of person who likes to get shot at. So it's like, if there's not heavy paint raining down in my bunker, I don't think I'm really engaged in the game. So, you know, I've always preferred tournament play over rec play. And when it comes to scenario, you know, going back to being rewarded for a good move, like if you make a good shot, you should be able to take that bunker after, you know. But in scenario, it just gets filled by some other bozo, and then some other guy, and then some other
like
guy.
induced behind that bunker instead of the one that you shot out.
Exactly, right. And it's like, and sometimes the next guy will be easier, sometimes he might be harder, sometimes he's gonna have a die damn, he's gonna shoot 100,000 shots at you, you know, and you're just like, it's like, okay, like I want to play like a legit format where we're all on an even keel, you know, we can all kind of battle it out right here, and you can get rewarded for shooting somebody out and kind of take the field kind of thing. So yeah, UWL led forward, shot the autococker forever in that format as the scout, or no, sorry, not as the ranger or whatever it was called. And then yeah, ICPL, man, is a blast. And I think by then I played so many 10-man tournaments. You know, by the time the ICC came around, we jumped on that, and you know, SOF had a lot of great players on it. Like over its time, I know it was a woods ball team, but we've had a lot of great Ontario players on that team. Among them was Derek Welch, who runs the Royal City Sea Dogs, runs Colder Distribution. He's a great guy. Also runs the OPL too. Excellent league runner. And through him, you know, he played on SOF, I think, for a year and a half, 2 years. And he just loves all types of paintball, you know, like he might run an X-Ball league, but for him, he just loves the game, you know. And it was through him we connected, and obviously the rebirth of 10-man just through mechanical. And, you know, here we are today playing with the Sea Dogs, and I guess a year and a half deep, but I guess we're trying to figure out what this year looks like now, right?
Right.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy what's going to go on with everything. I hear ICC is the next one. I heard people say maybe Cup, but dude, I hope ICC, man. I mean, that's a blast, man. I had a blast last year. I mean, I ended up playing with CEP, you know, because I know two of the guys played with Master Blasters back when I was on them back in the day. So I thought ICC was great. I mean, I don't remember. How did you guys didn't do too well, right? I mean, not saying I did good either, but.
No, ICC surprisingly went well for us. We came 13th overall this year at ICC. Like, this year was actually pretty good. We had 2 bad events in Florida in a row. But the ICC we played as Incursion this year. We put together a throw-together team with some guys from Chop Shop. Other guys like Jesse Benoit, who helps out with New York Extreme. The other guys were on that team as well. Actually, a real jokes group of guys. Like, we had a ton of fun out there, and we had a really good set of prelim matches. We rolled into the finals. We lost to Thunder Horse, I believe it is. And then we came up against Brooklyn Bears, and we beat them. But I think we missed out by 1 point by going into that, top 6 or top 8 or top 9 or whatever. So we were so close to cracking it, and we were so rattled because I think it came down. One guy got a playing on penalty at one point in that first prelim. So lot of chirps going towards him after the game because those were definitely the points that were needed, to push us ahead. But yeah, ICC was a blast. And then Trav, what team were you playing with? Which Ground Zero team at the time?
24K. So we finished 17th.
Yeah, you guys did really well. Right?
We did good too. We did the same thing. So we won our first semi game, and then we had to play Dynasty, which they won, so we lost.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, it's only those couple of games, so yeah, you really got to win both. So.
Yeah, and it's tight. Like we drew the Woods too, so we felt like it was an advantageous draw for us because we were having pretty good games in there. And as you heard, we played a ton of Woods ball, so everyone on our squad knows what's kind of going on the full 3-dimensional space that is, the Woods. So yeah, it was a blast, and we thought we had a good chance. And yeah, Dynasty's hilarious, man. We've drawn them twice in a row now in 2 different ICPLs. We actually play with AK-47 up here. He plays with the Leisure Kings and Ian McCombs in the OPL, and I played with him at the Ontario Classic. We had a pretty stacked team with like Tom Guest, AK, Ian, and a bunch of other just like Jesse Benoit was on that team too. We had a fun time at that event, but yeah, just overall, just great group of guys and just a ton of fun, right? It's gonna be too bad if that gets canceled this year. It's
right.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything, but I really don't think so. But I really hope not.
Yeah, it'd be unfortunate, and it's fun watching just the Ground Zero camp grow as well because over the years I've had a ton of funny stories with the Blasters, and I've played for the Blasters as well at one event in California. So I always follow you New York guys pretty closely, and it's just a blast seeing you guys grow and jump up to the rankings and stuff like that, especially in all the different tiers and like tiers of teams you guys got. You're just a great group of guys, right? So hopefully we all get a chance to go out there and mix it up. And what's funny is we were putting ICC on hold because we were putting more weight into this New York event because we really wanted to come play this Woodball World Cup. We played that, I guess it was 2016, and Waldo came out, and we had a blast. And it was also one of the funniest events ever because we ended up shacking up at some ghetto hotel some in Hudson, New York or something like that. And we as Canadian boys, we thought we might run in for some trouble and lose our wallets or something like that. So we're talking about putting like dressers up against the door and shit. But yeah, no, it was a blast, man. It was a great event. And we were hoping to play that, right? Because obviously great roughing, the Woods are awesome. It's fun to go back to the Woods after so much hyperball and mounts and stuff like that, and kind of return to the roots. And correct me if I'm wrong, that event wasn't mechanical, correct?
Nope.
No,
this was
it wasn't
mechanical jazz.
Yeah, it was before all that. And the craziest thing though was that's when Saberwolves came back.
Yeah, and if you remember, they had to leave early, and that's what got Black Sunday into the top 4. Otherwise, I think they finished 5th because it was funny.
I thought it was Bad Company. Was it Black Sunday? Because I always thought it was Bad Company, and then Bad Company ended up winning it.
Yeah, no, Company came. It's funny. I think I saved the scores, but I think Company came 4th because it was. I think first was after the prelims. First was AA's. Second was Saberwolves. I think third was us, and then 4th was Company or something like that. Because actually, I guess maybe we were 4th and they were second. Anyways, I'd have to figure out exactly what it was, but those were the top 4 because I remember. We were having a horrible weekend, and we just couldn't click. We went up there with 9 guys. You remember. It was just brutal. It was a shit show.
They had Doyle playing with them the first day, and he wouldn't come back the second day. That's why I got to play. He was like, no, I'm not going back. We didn't do too good. I'm not coming back.
We were always throw-togethers, right? Like, you call 20 guys for an event. The week before the event, you got 15. You're like, all right, we're in good shape. 2 days before the event, you got 10. Day of the event, you got 9, So we played a few events with 9. And that was one of them. So I know we were picking up people, but it came down to this last game against Black Sunday. And I remember it was Saransky was like chirping us at the start box or like, at the, before we went out, and he's like, oh, you guys got no chance. We shouldn't even play this game. Like, don't waste your paint and all this other shit. And he's trying to get in our heads. And we're like, you know what? We don't care. We're going to come out and play. Like, we didn't drive down from Canada. Like, we usually place pretty well in the UWL. We're having a bad event, whatever. And then for some reason, they just work us down to like a 6-on-2, and then they decide single file to just walk into our gunfire. And like all 6 of them get waxed by Jeff from Premium or Combat Pursuit. And I can't remember who else is on the field, one other person, but just single file. And they're just like, boom, 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 1, boom, G2, boom, 3, 4, 5. And then, like, we just wiped their team and we move on to the finals. And we're like, what the hell just happened here? You know, it was like the funniest weekend, you know? Yeah, we did that short, and I think we edged our way in. But yeah, that was the Bad Company New York version, right? You guys had a lot.
I mean, we could say it right now. I mean, it was couple Master Blasters players and you know, whatever. Yeah, Bad Company New York Reservoir Dogs scenario team.
Yeah.
I was actually supposed to play on Bad Company.
Yeah.
But I gave my spot to Johnny Red.
Oh yeah. he lit it up that weekend. He played really well too. Yeah, no, that was a blast of a weekend, man. And I remember, I think Black Sunday beat AAs in the semis too. So it was Black Sunday and Bad Company in the finals. But you're right, Saberwolves, they deserve to be there 100%, man, because they were rocking it that weekend. And like they clipped us both games, I think, because you remember you had to switch sides, I think. And they got the best of us both games. They played really well. And it was fun seeing them out there just crushing it, right? And it sucked that they had to leave for their flight, but they're paving a nice little legacy on their own right now, doing pretty well for themselves. So.
Yeah. No, it's just, you know, just bringing that up. It was just like, I remember, and I was like, yo, why wouldn't they just miss their flights? Like, screw that. And like, no, we're good. We're just gonna leave. I was like, okay, I'm good. Bye. Like,
I like that though.
Open up the door for us, like.
Yeah, but it's a humble confidence, right? Like those guys, they know where they're at. You know, they don't need, you know, some later score to remind them who they are. You know, and I think that's awesome. Like they're, like I don't know them too well, but like from everything I see and the people I do know and the ones I've talked to, they've all been excellent guys. Like, you know, 100% of the way. And obviously some of their guys used to be ex-teammates of mine. Like them as well, despite all the funniness that went down in the past. Yeah, you know what? Actually, just going back quickly, just the funny things with Blasters, we always show up with 9 guys and ended up playing the Blasters. So like our first UWL, we came down to Pittsburgh and we had 9 guys again, and then there's only like 4 teams there. It was like some random team, and I apologize that I forget the random team's name, but the other 3 teams were like us. FTF was there, who had, you know, Boyer and the Pointers and stuff like that, and then the Blasters were there, and you guys had Cilio and some other guys, and that was my first introduction to you guys. And I remember, you know, that league was like the Wild West. You know, the rules weren't too tight there. So we're going into the semis. Who are we playing? I think we're playing against the Blasters actually in the semis, I think. And you know, FTF had a bye to get into the finals. So just because the Wild West, we roll over to FTF just because I knew them from the SPPL days, and I'm like, hey, you know, we're short a guy. Can anybody come play for us? Like, you know, we're bagged, we're hurting, kind of thing.
Right.
And then I think one of the Pointers stepped up, or maybe even both of them were, and they're like, hey, we'll play. So they jumped in. So we played the semis against the Blasters, and we beat the Blasters and knocked them out. Okay, and then they're all pissed because I think they knew that we pulled 2 guys to come play. And then 10 minutes later, we got to play FTF in the finals. So then I run over to the Blasters. I'm like, listen, I know you guys are pissed and you're probably heated. I'm like, any chance we can grab 2 of you for a game against FTF? And Cilio and one other guy's like, oh yeah, no problem. So literally, like, we took 2 players to knock you guys out, then took two of these Blasters players to come back and play them in the finals, you know? So we always had this funny connection with the Blasters and like just these funny like intermingled stories, you know, and that's probably how I think most of our relationships flourished. And even like, you know, with Kevin Donaldson and even like, you know, Rosie and Martucci and like all those guys, you know, Doyle and all them, like they're good fun. I think that's why I ended up even playing with them in Cali, right? That one time. Yeah, just a blast, man. Always good times with them, right? Always good times.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the reason why. I mean, so like Dylan and the 24K guys, like I always said, I was like, yo, you guys need, because you know, there's Black, there's Doyle, Martucci, Rosie, and those guys, and then there's the 24K Casano guys. And I was always like, yo, you guys need some back guys. And when he told me that Rosie and Mooner and Martucci were gonna join 24K for the recent Florida event, I was like, yo, that's what you guys need, honestly. Like that's, you know, the missing piece, and it kind of shows with how they placed on this one. I mean, what do you think, Travis?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And going back to, I know you know Phil. Phil had an amazing ICPL in January, killing it. He had like 5 or 6 kills in the woods. He was a solid dude.
You need that mix, and Phil's a great player, man. I remember playing with him when I played in Cali for that event. And like you need that mix, and you see it too with Cap. Like they had to bring in Glenn and Rodney and those guys just to like settle down, the speed and the angst of the other players just to get those better results, right? And that's what 10 men is, man. It's a blend, right? Like it's easy to go out there with 10 guys hard charging, but like we've had similar mistakes, and like we, after 2 bad events as Royal City Sea Dogs, we look back and we're like, you just think about things, as SOF, we had a far less experienced team, if you look statistic wise and tournament event wise, but like our finishes were always strong. And I don't know if it's that cheesiness, like stronger as a team and as individuals or something like that, right? But like you've got to find that mix, and that mix includes, getting those smarter back players in that just know the game, right? And that are just, calm and controlled. And I noticed it a lot too, because I moved out west, I think, as you know, Waldo. So I just moved to Vancouver about 5 months ago for my work, and I've been playing a lot with Rogue, and Rogue's the same way, very, very smart, very methodical in the way they play. And, when I'm out there, I feel like I'm a little like excited for them. I'm like, and I almost want to go too much, and you're right, though. You absolutely need that, right? It's the key to success, right? Is taking it slow, especially in 12-minute games now, right?
Mm-hmm. As I like to say, like when shit hits the fan and everyone's dying left and right, you need that one guy that's like, "Oh, I'm alive. Oh, okay, word. We got the flag."
Are you guys keeping that squad close, like as close together? Like how do you guys control your rosters over there? Because you guys are like, I've always looked up to like both your type of squads, because they're like being the Blasters and GZ, in a sense that they're pretty everlasting. Like the name's synonymous, they've been around forever, but the group is so big, and it's almost like a giant family, despite all the domestics I've seen you guys go through at events like that, at each other, right? But do you guys intend to keep it as a core? Like, are you even able to talk about that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I could talk about it from definitely at least the 24K side. I know for the year, we definitely have the squad. And as long as Rosie and Buddha and all those guys want to keep playing, I think they're going to stay with us forever. I mean, I know that they're getting up there in age. I don't want to sign them up for the next 10 years. But as long as they want to play, they definitely have a spot.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, great guys. And I agree. And hopefully these events go down. I seen the New York one isn't going down, but if Chicago can happen, I think that would probably be the best thing for everyone, right?
So you heard from Kevin they're pulling the New York one. I know he was trying hard, but
no, I haven't heard.
Oh, okay, all right. Because from what I know he wants to run it, even if it's in a lesser capacity where guys like yourself or the Ironmen or anything like that can't come down because of whatever. He might run it as a local event, but from what he told me it's sold out. I mean, I don't know if that's just him. I don't know. I only know confirmed from what I hear directly from other teams or anything like that. So
yeah,
I know.
I was gonna play it with Rogue. From what we've given registration money. For me, it's more an issue of border crossing right now, because recreational border crossing shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of worries me about, Chicago as well. It's like, shit, like, are we even going to be able to cross, by the time it comes? Because, yeah, things might be dying off and restrictions might be laying up, but like, how urgent is recreational crossing right now? Like that might be something that's on lockdown for a little bit longer. And barring that, and I can cross, if I come back, do I have to quarantine myself for 14 days because I work for PPG, which has got super tight policies when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays. But no, I haven't heard anything official. And what's funny is I'd just run it too if I could. We there's a local field here that I've been visiting a lot, Snipers, and this guy Kevin owns. He's a great guy, and it's been shut down mostly to the public, but he lets me come by, during the daytime and shoot some drills and just fire off some paint and stuff like that, just so at least get out. It's only a few kilometers from my place, and restrictions aren't too tight here yet. But people need to get out and play. Like, I know, listen, I don't want to send us the wrong message, obviously, because it's a crazy time. But like, if people feel safe doing it and they think they can pull it off, and do it in a safe manner, like, maybe if it only is 2 teams or something like that. Because I remember we were down to like, I think groups of 50 or something, and we were talking about an invite only, like 5 or 6 team affair, like, a small 5-man X-ball tournament or something like that at this local field. And some teams got a little wary about it, because it was a little while ago. But I don't see something like that too far away,
Right.
as things improve. And I think that'd probably be the best thing for the game, man, because the game's got to come back, like it's
like any sport, it needs to come back, and we need to get it filmed and get people out there and get eyes on it to like help grow the sport.
Yeah. So I hope he runs it, even if it's just smaller, just to say he did, right? Because like we'll come back next year to it if it's again, and it's whether they run or not. I'm sure we're always going to come back, right? But yeah, you just hope for the good of the game that you can roll with it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
right.
I mean, I'm looking to. I was supposed to run my first Expo event like last weekend for my Expo league, and no, that ain't gonna happen. Actually, the field that I was gonna run it at, like the weekend stuff was shutting down around here in New Jersey, New York. He had a 5-man, and the cops rolled up on it and was like, shut it down, like halfway
Wow.
through the tournament. Like, yo,
You
you're
think,
done, bro.
you think that was random or called in?
No, I definitely think it was called in. I think somebody
All right.
either there or a team that registered and was like, yo, you got to shut it down. And he was like, no, I'll just refund your money and we'll run the tournament. There's no way that was random. No way.
Yeah, that seems very suspect that would come like right at that exact moment in time kind of thing. Unfortunate though, it's a tough grind, and it's a tough grind for field owners too. Because I've got a lot of friends who are field owners, specifically, and I feel for them right now because they're going through a really difficult time, right? A huge loss of rental traffic. They're gonna have to fight a lot of mental stigma about putting on rental masks and stuff like that. Because I think a lot of people are gonna be afraid about that kind of stuff, right? So there's going to be a lot of hard work, and it's going to be a real uphill climb, I think, for field owners. And when you looked at SOF, we had multiple field owners on that team, which is hilarious. Matt actually owns Soldiers of Fortune Paintball, which is what we were always named after. We had Jeff on there who runs Combat Pursuit, and used to be Next Paintball, and then we have Derek who runs Colder and stuff like that, who supplies paint to fields as well through a distribution company, and it's. Everyone's hurting, so you're hoping, and you guys probably have tons of friends in the game as well, right? And that's why I'm hoping the game pulls through and we can just kind of, this gets over with sooner than later, because paintball is one of those niche sports, and it's like, it's going to be up to the group as a whole to try and keep it alive if it diminishes at all. And it's really going to be up on us to support our fields, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see paint costs go up in a little bit of areas as well, and little things like that. And I think we're just gonna have to eat it as a group and just understand, it's for the bettering of the game, right?
Yeah, we've talked about in the GZ camp that once it opens back up, like we're gonna drop, we obviously get discounted paint from our sponsorship, and we're not gonna take the discount anymore. We figured for a month we'll pay full price to help our local field get back.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea, and even not you guys, but I'm just saying, I think other people too. It's just even if you get the chance to support your field and put some volunteer hours and stuff like that, anything to help these guys, because it's small business literally to the core, right? And they're real people, and they've gone another way, I'm sure, to help all you guys at some point and other people who are listening or whatever. But yeah, we got to try and get back as much as we can, not to be a total socialist, but it's it's for the love of the game right now, right? And it's not it's not easy to keep it going, right? So it's going to take work.
Right. And then, yes, like I said, Steve is on our team, and he's the field manager at Cousins. So it's like, you always know somebody who knows somebody who owns a field or something, especially if you play. So definitely help support
Eugene
and everything.
Also, man.
Yeah, Eugene.
Also.
Yeah, huge. Was it Yankee Paintball?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, really good guy. Yeah, and that's actually, when you think about it, I could probably name field owners on every team now that you stop and break it down, right? And yeah, you hope the best, and you hope there's a quick kickback to it, so we can get to it. But yeah, it's them that I'm most worried about, because the field owners are they're bread and butter, right?
Yeah, right. I have a funny feeling though, once it does open up, you're going to see a lot of people that are going to get out and they want to play. So the first couple of weeks when this is open, I hope they get a nice boost.
For sure, and even try and run some big games or something like that, just to try and take advantage of the large grouping that want to come out and just rock from there, kind of thing. You guys plan to hit any those large events this summer at all, or are you guys mostly just tournaments? What are you up to, Waldo? You playing it all the time?
So
you go
I mean,
first.
he's usually my battle buddy on anything like that, but there is a big game that we play in New Jersey. It's called The Living Dead. And I get my scenario LARP on and everything like that. Last year I bought 3 cases off the rip, and I had him and his brother pod them. And I was like, you're not allowed to go back to camp. You're not allowed to take water. You come back to the command base and you just keep filling up your thing. They come back after maybe 10 minutes shooting a CVO, dude. They're not ripping paint. They come back, they're like, he went out with 10 pods, and he's like, I'm done. I need more. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? He's like, dude, we got to be outnumbered. We got to be outnumbered. Dude.
Target-rich environment, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that's what I'm going to be doing. I still like to go my big game scene, and now that I don't have Kevin in my ear, like, yo, don't do the missions. We just shoot people. Like, I get my full LARP on. I bring my map and my little army men and just whatever. I mean, this dude, we had some guy with like a mag-fed vest or whatever, and he lost like the main prop. So I like flipped it. I flipped the table, dude. I freaking cursed him out. I found the field owner. I'm like, dude, you need to give me this prop. And the guy's like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, you got ADD or something? And I'm like, dude, I just got to win, man. I just want to win, and I'm here to win, you know. But trying to play ICC again with CEP.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Not the first time I've seen you flip a table wall, though. So don't worry.
Nah, man, I know.
No, it's scenario games are a blast once you're into it. But I hear you. I like to run around to shoot people as well when I'm out there. So I probably annoy the heck out of commanders. But it's like when you get in the game, it's a ton of fun.
No, you know what it is? It's like you got to just know what people, you know, because I used to like run a lot of big games. Like you just need to know where people want to go, and that's like my major thing. Like I'd be like, hey, dude, you want to go kill people? You go to that side of the field. Hey, dude, you want to run a mission? You go over here. Hey, you're a big dude that wants to mosey on up to that hill and kill people? All right, we know you're not going to be there for 10 minutes, so I'm not going to tell you to run out there because you're probably going to pass out. So whatever. You just got to use your people to your advantage. Like,
yeah, that actually sounds exactly the same as our 10-man breakouts.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You just got to know. It's the same thing, man. Yeah. I mean, it's not like back when Kevin used to play, and he told me that they used to like have like a miniature sandbox and like would draw out and have like 5 guys back in 15 man. There'd be 5 over here. This is your general. This is your lieutenant. Whatever. But you know, I didn't play back then. But like you said, you got a late jump to the game. As far as flipping out, I think the only person who was the kid that Brody, I flipped out on Brody at the tournament. Yeah. He was like, dude, I think we did well. I'm like, well, we just lost to my friends that I drove here. Like, no, I got to listen to their shit talking for the 3-hour drive home, Brody. Don't you understand? He's like, it was a fun weekend, man. I appreciate it. I'm like, dude, you know, I don't get you, man. Whatever. But I don't think I've seen him back at an event anyway. So
he gets heated too. The funny thing though is like, for me, it's like paintball is the one place you're allowed to get, you know, rowdy and get like that. Because like to me, like I'm a suburban, you know, dude. Like I've got 2 kids. My life is like so steady, you know. And going back to the evolution of the paintball being like the evolution of a video game. When you're in the staging area, that's just like the friggin', you know, the loading stage. You know, when everyone's just shit talking and yelling at each other and stuff like that. You know, so. I think that's where a lot of it comes from because, like, I kick into full tribalism mode the second I get with my team, you know, and it's like if anybody trips anybody on your team, you're like, oh, what the, you know, you're like freaking out, like, you know, and like going back to like the pointers who played with us for like they played with us for a full year, like multiple events with us, like great friends, but like, you know, when we ended up playing against them one year, and you know, when they were vigilante as a 10-man, we got in an argument because they accused one of our guys of wiping or playing on or something, and then I just jumped in and just started yelling for the sake of yelling, you know, and like I'm just, you know, full on board. And for them, it's like, you know, just things kind of blossom. And it's like, but at the same time, it's like I almost need that energy to like get involved in the game, you know. And it's like to click in and like forget you're a suburban dad, like listen to some hardcore hip hop, you know, and try to pretend you actually hate somebody out there, and then try and go, you know, beat them as hard as you can, right? It's You need to get crazy like that just to win sometimes. Like I can't walk in there nonchalant and like not care, you know. Otherwise, like what are you doing out there, right?
No, me too. Yeah, I love that. Like just to feed off your emotion. Like any sports, like use your emotions to your advantage. Use it to get you juiced up.
Yeah, and it's funny. It takes more energy to do it, but it's worth it, right? Like it's
so worth it.
Yeah, and your wins feel so much better after, right? And you're just like, yeah, that, you know, like because you
fuck you, like let's like, you know what I mean, man. It's good, man.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're dumping your loader out.
That's fat craft style.
Are you guys a fan of that stuff? The loader drops? I've seen it's blown up like wildfire right now, man. It's all
blown up like wildfire. I like it because they do it. I don't like anyone that copies them.
Yeah, like you're talking about New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it too. In fact, because the slip road is done. Like it's been so overplayed. So people need to pull out some new moves, right? I think those are my two biggest like FU moments. I think in my like 13-year of tournament paintball, and both were local here in Ontario. I was super humble during both. Like one, I got to grab a flag off of some old teammates in a tough one, and I stayed quiet. And another one, we won a tournament probably like 8 years ago against a bunch of guys that kicked me off a team. And we came back and beat them with some scrubs and.
No, dude, those are the good ones, man. So
I was very quiet. There's nothing to say, right? But as much as you want to be like, it's.
Dude, that's the opposite of me, man. That's the opposite of me. I played some event, some D4 5-man or something, and it was like I was coaching the one line, and then like we put another line in, and I was just like, you know what, I want to play one, and then we played the one and we won, and then we played a second one, and it was this team we've had a long relationship with, High by Wrecking Crew. Like we've taken their players, they've taken our players, type of thing. And it's like the one guy running it, Andy, like I'm cool with them now. They're actually playing my league. But the one guy, Andy, that runs it was this Asian guy. And this guy, Lewis, wanted to be on our team, but he wanted to like buy into the team and like not go to practices. I should have just took his money back then, to be honest. But I just like, you got to make practices, whatever. Like I should have just took his $2,000, let him sit the bench or whatever it was. But we play the event. And there's Dentals there, my Granado's there, my two best buds. Like I played so many tournaments, won a lot with them. And I just remember I bunkered the last guy on the Dorito side, and one of them's holding the flag. I literally snatched it out of their hand. I went up to the box, and like that was back when like you would have to hide behind the box when you were dead. And I took the flag and I was like, "Fuck you, Lewis. Fuck you, Andy." I stomped it down, and then I walked off. And I was like, I went straight to the score. Like, I didn't say bye or hi, no. I walked directly to the game director, whatever, the producer. And I was like, can I have my trophy? I was like, I'm sure you heard we already won. And she's like, well, you got to take the picture. And I'm like, all right, I'll take the picture. And I have the trophy in like a death grip. And they're all like, yo, let me hold it. Let me whatever. I'm like holding it. I'm like, nobody's taking this out of my hand. We're standing on the podium. It was like a 3-tier podium. And there's a kid next to me on high velocity, the team we just beat. And like, yo, we can't see the trophy. So I go bang like this, and I smack somebody in the head. And they're like, yo, dude, you got to apologize to the kid. I'm like, no. I was like, we won, blah, blah, blah. So we're about to leave, and then I'm like, I kind of feel bad that I hit the kid in the head. So I like walk over to him, and it wasn't one of their like main players. Like it wasn't like a guy that I really actually knew. So it's like, listen, man, I'm sorry. Like there's a big rivalry here. Like, you didn't need to get involved with it or whatever like that. But he's like, no, I've heard about you, dude. He's like, dude, he's like, yeah, I've heard about you, man. Like, it's all good.
It's like, sorry, man, big moment for me.
I'm just like, sorry, man. I got a little carried away there, but that was my FU moment.
So, but going back to the tribalism thing, it's like, where else can you do that? You can't do that at work. You can't do that with your fam. So it's just like, whatever, no harm, no foul. Like, you do some funny shit once in a while, like whatever. You rattle some people, you don't rattle people. It's the one area where you can kind of get away with it, right? And we're all clowns out there, man. Like if we weren't, we'd probably be playing like some other collegiate sport growing up.
Yeah, we'd be playing some real sport. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I said. There's a kid up here. He's a great guy, Johnny Thompson. He actually used to play for Impact back in the day. And when they brought all the Americans, they let a few of these Canadian guys go. And we're just joking around. I'm like, dude, you're so talented, like as an athlete. I'm like, imagine you put this effort into like a real sport. You can get monetary returns from, for example, And I'm like, you wouldn't even have to be at like half the level you're at. Because Planet Impact is awesome, Like he rolled around Canada, kicked some ass, played some PSPs, and like won some events with them down there, And that's top tier, right? And it's like if you put it on par with any other sport, it being football or whatever,
right?
If you're top tier, you're making huge bucks. But even if you're like lower tier, like just above NCAA, you're still making more money than you'd be making at paintball, and that's not even on ratio.
You'll be making more in AAA, dude. You know what I mean?
Exactly, especially like baseball and stuff like that, and other things too, right? Like you see it all the time. So we always kind of joke around about that when it comes to earning. But going back to the tribalism, yeah, it's like the only places you can be like that is within sport, and yeah. So I don't blame it, but for me, the game is long, you know, and time is long, and it's like, you know, you might trick somebody today, and then 3 years later, you're chasing some game, and somebody, that person's right there, you know, and like, you know, it's just so funny, and it's always some unknown. For example, like, you know, I take Ovechkin because Ovechkin's been my favorite hockey player forever, you know, and his quest for the cup was so long, and the last step in his quest for the cup was to beat a team that never existed the 10 years before. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like he couldn't even written that story himself. And like, I remember at the time I was like, that's why I was so sure Washington was gonna win. I was like, he's gone through so much. There's no way some fucking team that fabricated out of nowhere is gonna stop him in his quest here. But it's the same thing with paintball, you know, like you wait a long time, you come full circle, and for some reason someone's linchpin somewhere that's important that you know, wronged in some random event, you know, like 20 years ago. And the paintball gods are real, man. Like, karma comes around. Refs live with karma in their veins, you know. So it's something I always try to pay attention to.
Yeah, well, it's like, look at Ninos when he shot at, I think it was Kraft Jr.'s feet after the one game. He didn't get a penalty. Or anybody else, we got a major, but it was against NYX.
Nah, man, because I'll tell you why. Because that was smart. Because what's his face was dead. He was dead already.
Yeah,
Kraft was dead. Yeah. So if Kraft is dead and he's shooting after the point, then that's fine. Ninos was just shooting around his feet. You know what I mean? Ninos didn't deserve a penalty. Kraft shot after he's dead. That's why it's a penalty. But
you need it though, right? Like, and it's funny you say that about NYX because, like, I don't watch, like, I've got a Go Sports login just so I can, you know, watch old ICC and other stuff, and I'll watch finals, but I'll watch NYX games because they're fun. Like, even when they were breezing it out with Aftermath, what was it, last year? You know, like, it was a blast watching those battles. Like, when there's stuff on the line, it's more important, and it's the same with like any sport. You know, even baseball. Like, I won't watch the regular season, but when shit's on the line, you're watching this pitcher, like, shit, what's he gonna do here? This is crazy, you know. So even if you're not a fan of X-Ball, like, you know, when you're watching those competitions, you're watching that beef, and, you know, there's that backstory to it. You're like, how's this going to unfold? You know, like,
yeah, that makes you care about the random match.
Yeah, because rivalries drive, you know, like, views.
Yeah, 100%, and 100%, right? And same thing in Woodsball, and hopefully we get more of that. You know, just throughout the ICPL is, you know, we have more parity and more teams winning and other teams losing, and you see, you know, people go up and down through the ranks there. Hopefully you see more of that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harrison was on top of the tank or whatever against Master Blasters that game or whatever, where he slipped and busted his ass. I thought that was sick. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe, you know, maybe they need to, you know, show some pit stuff at a Woodsball tournament. I think it's actually more crazy than at an NXL. I mean, well, they're both NXL, but
and even talk about, you know, put more emphasis on the stories. And I don't know if there's an outlet to it, you know, but there's some great stories, even with Harrison, you know, leaving GZ and GZ watching them play. Sorry, Infamous, I think it is, right? Like, I watched those games pretty closely in Orlando because I was like, yo, what's going to happen here? And I remember, I think they played their first game in that thick wooded field. Was it one of the first games Saturday morning or something like that?
Yeah, where did they get them? I think it was the Woods. Yeah.
They played them twice, and I think the second time they played them was on the hybrid.
Right.
But that first game was intense, like watching them all battle it out, and like they were yelling at each other and shit. And I was like, man, I'm a huge underdog fan. Not that Jeezy's any much of an underdog to Infamous in the Woods or anything like that, but just, you know, the story of people leaving, then coming back, and then, you know, that kind of retribution stuff and revenge. Like, those are great stories, right? So I was cheering for Will's team there in that one because I want them to pull it out, right?
Yeah, so we can talk about it now. So Will knew, but he didn't tell any of us. So I didn't know. So when the news broke that he left for Infamous, I was like, oh my God. I was like, who knew? So yeah, and even up to that event, he didn't really say that he knew. So I thought there was going to be some bad blood for sure.
Infamous is just jacking everyone. They took Cody Chong from the Sea Dogs too. I'm not on the X-Ball side, but it's funny because he came out to a few hyperball practices and he's local to us, so super good guy. Yeah, just hilarious. Infamous is just trying to grab everyone, but Harrison's a legit player, man. Like, he does damage out there, right? And we've drawn Cheesy a few times now. We played the better in Chicago, even though we were so hungover, and one of our guys didn't show up for the tournament the next morning because he was literally MIA, but that's a different story.
That's but like,
they've always we've learned some new characteristics of some longtime friends that I didn't even know could do certain things. They've always given us a good go, and every time we played GZ, we've had a blast. And I think on the Blasters have been on the other side of us a few times, just randomly out of luck. I don't know why, but it's always been fun matches against that group, and like Harrison was always a killer player to watch out for. So yeah, it's unfortunate he got taken, but you guys filled the roster with some pretty good players as well. But like I'd like to see, because GZ Gold, are you guys bumping up? Sorry, 24 karat. Do you guys have an opportunity to bump up next year, or do you guys have to still finish first, or how does it work?
We're trying to figure that out. I mean, if we get the opportunity, like if they ask us to bump up, we will definitely take it. But in our minds, we have to get first in Chicago in order to earn that.
Yeah, there's a lot of like really good amateur teams, and that's the funny thing, is you could probably like, and we're on the bottom tier of the pro team just because we played 2 bad events in a row. But it's like, there's a good mix there, and there's almost more parity on the classic level than there is on the airball level, the X ball level. When it comes to like teams across the board. So there's like, even you look at Smoke and you look at some other good teams as well. Like they can rock and roll, right?
Mm-hmm. We had to play Smoke 3 times in the last one.
Yeah, wasn't there a sketchy call or something like that there?
They were always good. There was chirping. I don't really know what's going on. I know we won the game.
Okay. Okay.
We won all the games.
We don't worry
I don't know.
about.
I thought there was one game against wasn't even Smoke. It was against that other team, Undertow, and they were doing real good in the prelims. And they had Johan. Yeah, I heard him chirping at the end of it.
Yeah, because they got fucked. They definitely got fucked. Undertow got fucked.
There's still sketchy stuff that goes down. There's old school ways out there.
It worked for you, right? So it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny. We've seen some calls like argued back from the sidelines, and I'm just like, I'm just blown away. It's just like you can do that. Like I didn't know you could just tell. Like
yeah. Bro, it happened to me because I took a loader hit on the one that they were filming, and I hear the dude on the sideline. I didn't see it. I thought it hit the tree, and then I hear the guy from the side like, "Yo, this guy's here on the loader over here, ref." And I'm like, oh, I gotta get rid of this. And the ref got there like just before I could like get my hand over it. But I was like, "Fuck, dude!" I was like, "Yo, shut up, dude." The ref didn't say I'm good, bro.
It's too funny. And on the flip side, sometimes they're never there when you want them to be there. Like I remember I was watching footage of an older game, and I think we're playing Fight Club or something like that. And I could have swore I dinged this guy, and the whole time I'm like, there's a ref behind him. Why isn't he checking him? Turns out the guy behind him was Simon Stevens with the camera, so he's not going to go perfect view. And in the middle of it, the buddy gets clipped in the head, and you hear Simon go like, "Oh, he just got hit in the head. I don't know if that's a bounce, but that's a lot of pressure he's got on this guy." No ref like within 100 meters checking this dude. Like
that's how it always happens.
It's just like, all right. So it's like you never know in the woods. It's tough to be a ref too, right? As you guys probably know, you've ref events, and you've ran events, so like split-second decisions and like things that go down quick. It's super hard, right? Like, what is the best way? Like I've refed X-ball, and like you ref it. Like I remember reffing an event in the rain, like one of the OPLs. So I probably refed about 4 or 5 of those, and like it's pouring rain, guys are diving everywhere. It's like you have no idea like if the dude was shot or not. You'd be 100% convinced he was shot, but some people are good at cheating, right? So it's like, shit, I got to deal with this. Like, I've yelled at
dude. It's hard, man. It's hard on an X ball field, harder on a woods ball field, dude.
I remember,
and even harder when. Go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was saying it's even harder when you have the best cheaters of all time all converged in one woods ball field. You know what I mean? Shout out to any old classic woods ball team.
And the best talkers, and the best everything, right? So it's like they're orchestrating like a puppet game. But you're right, man. Like it's so hard to ref it when guys are good. Like even on local scenes, like local X-ball events, I'm sure guys who are really good at cheating as well, right? And it's like I remember once I was reffing this dude like dove into snake, and I 1,000% he was hit by like it was split second in my head. I thought I saw it, but he was so clean that like not even like a bit of shell was there, and I literally was just like, "F you!" Like I know you're hit, I'm fucking watching you, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I had to like, you don't know in that split second. Like did it hit the grass right in front of him while his knee was there? You know what I mean? Like so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I can only imagine reffing woods ball. You're right with these guys out here because, yeah, it's crazy, right? Like they're also outnumbered too, right? And they're not used to finding people in that 3-dimensional space and sorting that out. And that's kind of another reason why I was looking forward to that New York event because Blasters can ref an event pretty well, right?
Yeah, I mean anything that anybody's ever thought about doing, they've done 100 times, and they you know what I mean. I mean, reffing them on a local level, like, I think that's why my 7-man was so crazy, because I was used to having two like hard to ref teams that are gonna try to pull stuff during the game, before the game, after the game. So I'd be like, all right, I got Master Blasters, then GZ. When I my 7-man was Master Blasters, then GZ, then GZ Black, then Image, then whatever. You'd have the normal teams like Omens or whatever. They'd be like, oh, that's the call, okay. Versus I got Frank yelling at me on one side, Kevin at the other side, Tommy Malcheski coming this way, and I'm just like, dude.
The pinnacle for that bit for me was when you came over. It's like, yo, bro, I need to borrow your laptop because I have to pull up the fucking rules.
That's what I was going to say next. These guys probably know these rules better than you do. That's exactly what I was going to say.
He's like, bro, I need your laptop. I need to pull up the rules right now because I need to look at this.
They're like, so just like. And actually, it's funny. You mentioned Brody before. Brody was reffing an OPL with me once, and some dude argued a call, and Brody just looked at him like, with the ref jersey on. He goes, "Have you even looked at the rule?" He's like, 22-1B. He's like, "Read it when you have time." And the guy was like, "Oh, sorry, man, sorry," and walked away. And he's like, "Dude, I don't know what that number is." He just like threw out some random.
I'm taking that advice, bro.
He rolled off. So it works both ways sometimes, right? Like, just be like assured of like what you're about to say, But I don't blame you, man, because that's the thing is you got the best cheaters on the field, the best talkers who talk themselves out of things, and you got guys who are reading the rules fucking closer than you put them together, and they're just like, all right, what holes can we find here? Like, and I'm guilty of it too. We pulled some stuff like that before. Like we entered a scenario tournament a long time ago, and there was no rules against tactical shields, and some dude had a tac shield, and we fucking brought it out for a point. And the refs were all freaking out. They're like running to get the head ref, and this guy's shooting the shield, and this guy's just running up the field blasting people with like a friggin' ego in one hand and shield in another, right?
Dude, one of my events, some team was like, yeah, there's nothing in your rules against smoke grenades. I was like, all right, well, so you can use them this event. I'm telling you right now, I'm banning them after this tournament.
Yeah, and that's it, right? And they're always keeping you on your toes. And I felt like that was probably happening to Tom a lot in the UWL. People were trying to find like smart ways to like do different shit and pull different things out. So, but it looks like now we've got a pretty standardized rule book with this whole ICC / like ICPL thing. But yeah, no, I feel for you, man. I could imagine it. And I was never like head ref running OPL. I was just usually snake side or Dorito side or something simple. But obviously friends with the guys who are all running it, because Dogs are the guys who run the OPL on the reffing side. I see some of the arguments they're getting in, and like Boomer, one of the head refs, and Flo as well. I just feel I'm like, shit, man. There's so much to know, and like so much intricate information. You're like, fuck, man, it's just paintball. Like, let's make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like for that 7-man, I'm like, all right, well, this is like iteration 9 or 10 of these rules, so I should be good. Nothing bad should happen, right? Nah. There's still more stuff that happens. And then, dude, yeah.
Yeah, for every iteration, there's like more iterations they're going to throw at you of those. Like, so it's harder with, X-ball and stuff because, if you don't go to a certain door, you get in trouble. If you come out of, the wrong gate, you get, whereas like Woods ball, it doesn't matter. You just kind of mosey off wherever you're at kind of thing. Nobody's screaming, just drop your armband. But like, yeah, there's so much, right? And you see that all the time. Like I remember reffing and like a game's intense and this team's losing, but somebody goes to the wrong door 10 seconds later, and he's like, "That's a penalty. That game should be forfeited." And it's just like, are you really like making a big deal about like a door someone's going through when you just got worked? Like,
the pod guy came out. The pod guy came out. The point's ours.
Exactly, man. Exactly. There's one or two X-ball teams like that up here that it's just like I couldn't even go back to another event because I couldn't deal with it anymore without earplugs. Yeah, that's too funny.
Yeah, man. So, like, what are your guys' plans for the Sea Dogs for the rest of the season? Are you plans like ICC and ICPL, or do you guys have? I know you're saying plan on doing the Woods Bowl World Cup, but what else do you guys have on your schedules?
Yeah, I guess it all depends on COVID. Like, so for the X-ball side, they're obviously pretty heavy into into the NXL. They have the semi-pro squad, I think D2 and D3 as well. They had planned actually in playing Europe this year for flight costs and 4 events instead of 5. It was actually more affordable for our boys to go play Europe. And as well, I think after playing over and over and over again, going to the same cities gets pretty redundant, and they're tired of just hitting up those same spots. So I think a lot of the guys in the Sea Dogs were really excited about, jumping out there and playing in Europe. But as you guys know, like everything's being delayed right now. Otherwise, ICPL was on the list. ICC, we actually just dropped that out. I think I was I think a lot of us just it's tough with that long weekend. Like even my wife, after playing paintball for 13 years, she's like, okay, you need to stay home for an August long weekend at least once, which is fair.
Fair.
It's true, but ICPL for sure. Like obviously, willing the borders are open and everything is all good, 1,000%. And then on top of that, we're gonna try and run OPL as best we can, and then the Ontario Classic runs in October, which is our local 10-man here. We tried to have a spring event and a fall event, but the spring event's being hindered right now because of COVID, obviously. But the fall event's a blast. The Sea Dogs do run it, but because I don't play on the X-Ball team, I kind of get a bye from reffing it, and I get to play. So I'll probably play with the Leisure Kings, who are a local X-Ball team here. It was a great team, actually. That's where AK plays in his spare time right now and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
they've got other good guys in that roster like Benoit and stuff like that as well. So I'll probably play with them, and the Sea Dogs will probably run that. But it's all up in the air right now. It's a really funny time, and it's always going to depend on where travel's at. But I know each and every player is just dying to get back. I think a lot of people are just sitting around playing this COD Warzone game right now, trying to keep entertained. As you can see,
everyone's playing Call of Duty right now. Everybody.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's cross-platform, so it's like everyone's playing with old friends, and it's like I'm playing with paint. Like everyone on my friends list from that game is a paintball player, which is hilarious. And it's like no matter who you're playing with, like even guys I've met on the West Coast, we're gaming up with guys in the East. It's like it's just a universal language, like back 40, like top window, like it's like there's always someone going wide. It's been a lot of fun. So, but like until this all passes, I think the plan was that X-Ball in Europe and then the local 10-man here, but we'll have to wait and just see how it rolls out. And otherwise, like I said, I was trying to jump in with Rogue a little bit and play any events on the West Coast that I could play now that I'm local. Because before all this went down, I was pretty much going down there, once every month or every other month to practice with those guys at Corey's Field at Diamond Hill. And then another one, I think it's Impact. I apologize, I got the name wrong, but just a place down in Oregon. But that's the forecast right now, man. And hopefully we can, keep that on track and it doesn't all get derailed.
Yeah, right. I mean, everything is just fingers crossed and it's just planned, right now.
Straight up.
For that Ontario event, man, how many teams you guys get last time?
We got 18 teams, man. It was a blast. The Mounds field was kick-ass. They brought in a ton of dirt for it. The hyperball field is a ton of fun. The grass is perfect, man. You can slide forever in there. Like you can hit those bunkers pretty hard, if you get too much speed kind of thing. But we worked on that. Well, I didn't personally work on it, but Derek and those guys worked on that hyperball field really hard throughout the year. We practiced on it a few times, got used to it, kind of build things up and change things accordingly to make it play more fair. And then the Mounds field was built pretty soon before the actual event. So this year it'll have grass, but it was just a blast, man. The only thing it was missing was woods, just because infrastructure-wise and time-wise, we didn't have time to run 3 fields. But honestly, man, not just to self-promote because it's a local event, but it was probably one of the more fun events I've had in a long time. And I've played a lot of events in the States, and I hadn't played in Ontario in a long time, so I don't play OPL. So just to play, in my own backyard was kind of a blast. But beyond that, 18 teams is a good turnout, and
Absolutely.
Everyone out there, played fair and played great. There was a bunch of good teams there, and we tried hard to get a few American teams up there. And I don't know what it is, like a passport issue, or you guys are just mentally involved in the events you got going on, or whatever it is. But we really hope some people take some time to come up because it was a hidden gem of an event last year, and it would have been fun to have just that upper echelon group of a few more American teams come out. Whether be anybody from New York. I know we pushed hard on Kevin, not so much Will, just because I didn't talk to him as closely last year as I do more this year, and some other guys as well. We invited the Saber Wolves, and we've been trying to push Tom Cole to come up because Tom Cole's came up before and had a blast, and he ran at UWL up here, so he's familiar with our group and stuff like that. So that's a great event. If anybody can look into that, look up the Ontario Classic on Facebook. It's a blast, man. And 18 teams, like I said, is a real good turnout. And this year, I think it's going to be just as good. And hopefully we get some woods in there because Adrenaline, where it's hosted, has some badass woods, and that's where the original Canadian SPPLs were in UWL. So
yeah, they were a big team. I mean, I think that I felt like they were the first Canadian team that came down. Adrenaline, right? And they would have a couple lines.
Yeah, for sure. And you'll find this funny, but our Sea Dogs roster is really similar to kind of what GR Bad Samaritans were, which is my group, mixed with that adrenaline group mixed with the Sea Dogs is kind of what you see. And like I had a long time rivalry with a few guys on adrenaline, and now I literally play alongside them, you know, and like Sea Dogs are sponsored by adrenaline. So like after going back to the tribalism thing, after years of chirping, like, you know, here we are.
That's why you're trying to tell me, man, hey, you never know when it's going to come back. And that dude that you said F you to is your new teammate that you now have to go win a tournament with in another country. So
you're 1,000% you're correct, because even you're right, like the field owner, like we hated those guys back then because they were our biggest rival, right? And now, you know, from 2007 fast forward to 2018, and I've got adrenaline on my jersey, right? Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as that Ontario event and everything like that, you kind of got to do. Like I remember because I was just talking to Donaldson about their event. He's like, I've been going to Tom Cole's event, this guy's event. He's like, now it's time for them to come to my event. So I mean, you personally been coming to the United States for a long time. So, you know, these people need to come up there for once.
Yeah, it's a passport thing too, and we're tighter. It's funny, we've had some funny border crossings, you know, like some pretty funny ones, especially when you're trying to cross with a skid of paint because it's BYOP and they're like, what the hell are you guys doing? But you guys have a harder time, I think, coming up here. And I think, like, you know, without the allure of Skyball, you know, it's hard to drag you guys up when, you know, you have the exact same product in your backyard. Like you guys had multiple events, even in upstate New York, you had events that you could go to if you wanted to go to like a few practice events that are smaller, you know. But yeah, I think you'd find this is the thing is like our dollar sucks compared to yours. So this is what I was saying to Kevin and those guys, and even Mike, you know, Ricardi, when I was trying to recruit him up here. I'm like, bro, you come up with $100, you got like 175 in your pocket already, you know, like you're buying paint. I think paint was only like 60, 70 bucks last year. That's extremely cheap for you guys. Hotels are super cheap, right? Like food's cheap, like everything's super cheap for you guys, right? And that's what we're trying to use to kind of get you guys up there, because it's been worse for us as we come down. Like back when UWL ran, we were almost on par and it was no big deal. And now we're just paying through the roof every time we come down, right? So yeah, it'd be fun if we just took advantage of that and rolled up.
Yeah, I can't speak for the rest of my guys, but my brother and I have passports, and we're always down to travel because I like seeing like different areas, and I've never been to Canada, so that would be pretty dope.
Yeah. Have you played anywhere outside of the States?
No.
Okay.
Yes, I have. I played Cancun, UWL, Costa Rica, Ecuador. That's why, like, I don't play a lot, but if we're gonna go to Canada, I'll go to Canada, bro. I'd rather go to Canada than go to not to say the Pittsburgh event's bad, but I'd rather go to Canada than Florida. I've been to Florida 100 fucking times.
Yeah, Florida's pretty played out.
I mean, what I would like to do, I would like to take all the young guys on both teams, but I'm not sure Kevin or Will's going to be too happy if I do that either. But I don't know. I've said it for maybe 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean? And no disrespect to Rosie or Moon or anybody, but I feel like Kevin's team's done better the more young guys he has versus the older guys. But anyway, man, it's Kevin's team. It's not I'm not part of it anymore. Let him run it how he runs it. But you know, best of luck, Kevin.
Yeah, those young players are killers, man. Like, you know, Baskin and Ricardi, and watching those guys do work out there. It's fun to see and see them grow as well and continue to rock, because I think they were just getting started when we played that UWL with them in Cali. I guess that was like 2016.
That was Mike's first UWL.
Yeah, so that was a long time ago, right? Yeah, it's fun to watch them, like, you know, move up field and do damage. And like, actually, I think Mike clipped me in Chicago on the hyperball field. I got greedy and thought I could cross an opening, and I was like, yeah, I don't think anybody's up here. And sure enough, he was right there, and I was like, all right, that's fair, you know.
I know.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I was all right with it. Like I said, I'm humble about it. But yeah, no, it's fun watching them go. But like, are you guys that strict on players in the sense? Like, is Jeezy the same way? Like, I'm allowed to go play with other teams at different events if we're not playing that event. You know, that's why I'm able to go play with Road or whatever it is, or if I'm allowed to, obviously.
No, that's usually what it is. It's just like I said, it's hard for me to get them to go play something that Kevin's not playing or that Will's not playing. You know what I mean? Or lines up schedules or anything like that. So that's why I kind of said it like that, because
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we're all friends like outside of paintball, like Baskin and Ricardi, like they're all my boys. But like now we're at the point where both of our teams are playing like every event. So
Yeah. And is there a fun rivalry there? Like, do you guys look for like? I don't even think I've seen you guys play against each other much.
I mean, because we're the amateur and they're the pro, so and the things, and even the pro team doesn't get matched up with them too much.
Yeah.
But like, do we get chirpy at practice? Hell yeah, we're a New York team. We get chirpy at practice, but it's like all love. Like I said, more than 75% of the blasters, like I chill with on a normal basis.
So who? Yeah, it's actually funny you say that because even in Florida, this last event in 2020, like there was a point I was literally chilling with Eugene, who's GZ, and Mike, from Blasters, and the three of us are just chilling for like half an hour, So it just goes to make sense. Who? You don't have to answer this, but who's the better squad right now when you guys play each other in practice?
Ooh, well, that depends. God, they're gonna get mad, but so
I'll give you my picks, but I'm not at practice. But I'll give you my pick.
I mean, we give it to the Blasters pretty hard. I mean, they beat our squad sometimes, but for the fact that they're the pro squad and we're not, they should be embarrassing us, and they're definitely not. And the pro team, they have a hard time with. Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. But that's why I said the parity's close, right? So you should be able to put up a fight with these guys, right? It's
It's never like I turn around, I'm like, yo, fuck, they have 7 dudes alive. Jesus, we fucking. Normally, it's like, oh, the game's over. It's like, oh, dude, they have 1 dude alive. Damn it.
Yeah. But that's good for you guys, though, right? Because that brings up your level as well. And just having someone to practice with is clutch, because that's something hard to fight up here, right? Like we've always kind of just practiced against each other. It's kind of duke it out. Have like 6-on-6s and 7-on-7s in practice with like some random 3 or 4 guys that fill in on each squad. So it's good that you guys have that, right? And you're able to kind of like grow as a unit kind of thing, right? Do you guys usually practice against each other or with the Blasters on regular? Is it usually a mixed?
Both.
Okay. And are you guys practicing now at all, or is it like just total shutdown mode?
Total shutdown. Nothing's open.
Brutal.
I mean, I hope the younger guys are getting after it. I mean, I do like stupid little like drills in my basement, stuff like that, and I exercise. Yeah. I'd have to imagine those dudes are.
Yeah,
Travis, so. I thought you guys weren't allowed to play each other though. I thought that was I thought there was a stop to that. I heard there was a fight.
Yeah, but it didn't. We played each other.
I heard there was a fight. I heard you guys rolled up to Top Gun and were like, "Oh my God, the Master Blasters are here!" And Will was like flipping out.
He didn't like flip out. So they said they were going to go to the field and work on the Woods Bowl World Cup field, and we were going to do like a practice. And then like Ricardi and then Baskin showed up, and then another blaster showed up, and then another blaster showed up, and then they were just in on the rotation.
Will thought he like had the field booked to himself, but I guess because that's really their home field. Top Gun is Master Blaster's new home field, and also Revo is playing out of there too. But they just built the Mountains field and a Hyperball field and stuff like that too. So they're looking. Dave Painter's looking to kind of. I think they're actually looking to bring an ICPL there also, is what I heard under the radar.
Yeah, that'd be
ICPL. I don't know, bro. That field's kind of small.
Infrastructure wise, yeah.
But I mean,
more like a 5-man.
Well, here's a question: would you prefer a third event, or would you prefer something like ICC go under that ICPL umbrella? Like, do you make it one extra event next year?
I don't think 2 events is a season. I don't think it'd be wise for ICC to become part of that.
Yeah,
I don't think so on their end of it. So that's kind of where I stand. I also don't think adding another event, while it might be good for certain teams, other teams, it's like let's say the Sea Dogs, like you got them. One guy's playing 4 NXL Europes and 2 ICPLs, and then maybe an ICC. Like it's just too much. I feel like certain teams are going to be able to do it, but I also feel like anybody that plays pro NXL, they can make 2 ICPLs, but I don't know if they're going to be able to make 3 or 4 of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, and it also hurts the the local events too that you want to see grow, right? Like in New York being a great example, and if you have any even the Florida 10-man classic that they want to host down there, and you're hoping something pops up on the West Coast eventually as well too, right? But yeah, it is a tough call, right? And I think about that all the time too, because I have teammates being like, "Well, what do you think next year is going to look like?" And I'm like, I don't know, because you're right. It's hard to find that balance. And for us, if you look at our roster, the Sea Dogs over the last 3 events, we've never been the same, because if it's too close to an NXL, guys bail and they can't do it, And if you look at it, or it's funny, our Orlando roster was it October, I think? Yeah, I think it was October, whatever it was. And then our one in January, dude, we probably had 3 or 4 people who were the same, and that was it. When we went in October, it was pretty much half Chop Shop guys, maybe even more Chop Shop guys, and then half Leisure Kings. And then this time around it was more Sea Dogs. And in Chicago it was more Sea Dogs. But it always depends. So you're right. It's tough to find that balance, and people don't have time for both. And until 10-man becomes more popular than 5, you're going to see a lot of that, right? It's like, shit, we got to borrow guys when they're available, right? Which kind of sucks, but it's the reality we live in, right? Yeah.
I mean, that's why you need 15, 20 freaking people, or you know what I mean? Or I mean, the master places when I was on it used to have 100 fucking people, but now the majority of them are GZ or whatever. But I don't know. Kevin tries to keep a noose on those kids on this is number 1. I think he's starting to realize, people got other stuff, but I know for a while he was throwing practice this and whatever that. And I mean, we even had Mike Riccardi, who was supposed to be at a pro practice, and he was at that big game that I mentioned. And he was like, I just want to play this big game. And then so he went out for a couple hours, and then he came, and then he went to the practice, and then he came back and played this big game, because it was literally 30 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
And I was at Kevin feel, and he's like, I got Kevin wrapped around now, because Mike doesn't get, you met Mike. Mike doesn't, he's just chill about it. And he's like, Mike, why the fuck? And he's like, whatever. He just puts his pants on and just goes out there, man. So, I mean.
Chill.
He just chill and then he's done, you know what I mean? So.
It's nice to do that, though, and not worry, right? Because you guys have probably ran teams, I don't know if you large or small or whatever it is, but it's fun to just, like you said, just kill, not worry about it and be chill about it. And that's kind of more the approach now with the Sea Dogs that I've gotten to take. It's like, oh, thank God, I'm not worried about any of that, just kind of go do your thing, right? And just kind of enjoy the game. I think that's the best way to do it if you have the option, obviously, right?
Yeah, man.
Steve is our handler. It's great.
It's hard for me to do, but I definitely try to take some stuff from Mike about that and everything like that. Sometimes I just want to shake him, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, because he just doesn't care so much. He's like, dude, it's better than a day of work. I'm like, bro, we just got our ass beat. Kill me, whatever. We'll get him next time. And I'm like, do you not care? Or just, I don't know. That's Mike though, man. And Mike, whatever. He's a good
some people are just cool, right? They're just calm about it, right? And they just go quietly amongst doing their business, right? And that's a good trait, right? I'd almost like to be that, because sometimes you get a little excited, you get a little anxious, you get emotions in the mix when you're out in the field or something like that. You don't want to make that wrong move because you're so pumped to make that huge play or something like that, right? So being cool is an awesome trait, especially when you're out there too, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So, I mean, anything else? I mean, we got on the agenda. I didn't even write anything down or anything like that. But I mean, I pretty much, man, definitely thank you for coming on and everything like that. If you want to plug everything one more time on the way out, and
plug all the sponsors for the Sea Dogs.
Yeah, so huge list, obviously, and I don't know them all off by heart. I apologize, but Coldly Distribution being a key one. Obviously, check out Soldiers Fortune Paintball if you get a chance, because SOF is my lifeblood, and one day you will see SOF show up on a team list, because we're definitely going to make a reunion tour at one point or another.
Hell yeah.
Virtue for obviously great masks and hoppers. We're all shooting CVOs right now, which rock. I've actually got mine right here, which is badass. Boom. Threw the adrenaline trigger on it, which was fun. Exalt as well. We're big behind Adrenaline Paintball. Not the same Adrenaline Paintball that's in the States, but the Adrenaline Paintball that's based out of Ontario. And there's some other random shout outs just to some friends as well, like Deep from Sergeant Splatters and Georgina Paintball, just for getting everyone in the game. And then I mentioned Matt at SOF already. So pretty much that's it, man. I appreciate just the talk, man. It's funny, I didn't have to write anything down either. It's just I figured we'd be able to just talk ball for an hour, and it's nice to just shoot the shit about it rather than do nothing, just watch videos of it, right?
Right now we're creating them.
Absolutely, man. So, guys, again, that's Jay Balaka from Royal City Sea Dogs and formerly of SOF, but he said they're going to be a reunion and everything like that. So definitely look out. We'll have to have him on again. And definitely, check out, Dizana Sports again. Use code Overshot for any of your paintball apparel needs. They got joggers, jerseys, barrel swabs, hats, anything like that. So definitely check them on out. Remember to share this up. Give us a 5-star review and anything like that. Tell your friends and everything, and we'll see you out there.